Good morning, good evening, my name is Yelps. Nisa related Trails Beyond the Horizon trailer, and we're going to react to this. There is another thing that they released an interview with Toshihiro Kondo himself. So after this trailer, which is 1 minute 20 seconds, we're going to read the interview, and I'm gonna cut some points. I'm very excited. Let's see here. Let me lower here, and it should be good. Let's hear.
For those of you just joining us, Project Star Taker, led by the President of the Republic, is entering its final phase. We're quickly approaching the first manned spaceflight in history.
I can tell this is very good editing.
Now is the moment that the heavens
Oh, Yunka fight sounds like that, okay.
Decide the fate of Simuria.
You could say our world is coming to a crossroads.
Okay, this editing is good.
Whatever the truth behind the space program is, it's something we can no longer ignore.
Shucks. Let's see what you're made of.
Game over! Can humanity really touch the stars? I'll be keeping major tabs. So
This is Ulrika? Yes. Yeah, this editing. Oh.
Let's do this. Here's a lesson they won't.
I love a little shaking there.
Sorry, gotta rest your souls.
I'm so happy I got to spend such a magical evening together with you.
The eternal recurrence plan.
What the
will
fuck?
commence now.
There's Capanella.
Get away with this! The legend of
January
Trails Beyond
15.
the Horizon.
January 15th, so it's on I don't know if it's the right word, but it's on Wednesday. But this is really good. I first expected way at the end of January, but this is in the middle of it. The editing is probably my favorite thing about this. Feels like completely different from the Nisa trailers that we used to see, especially from the S9 or Kuro-1. But this is like definitely setting like a good bar to what we should see from now on. But yeah, let's see the Toshihiro Kondo interview. Falcon CEO Toshihiro Kondo discussed the Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon, Falcon history, jrpgs, and more. Unlike the Daybreak games, Horizon has a multi-protagonist came into Trails into Rapid. Besides Vanakai from Daybreak, we also get to see a perspective of Cold protagonists Rin Schwarzer and Kevin Graham from Sky the Third. Why were those three characters picked? There are mainly two reasons. The first being the story perspective that the game would take would be huge if it had been such a single real game, and we had Vaughn meeting Rin or Kevin, talking to them and continuing the story. While still having to tell the whole story, it would be bigger than it is right now. And so some of the logistics of how to tell the story, because so much information and storytelling had to be pushed in this game, we needed a way to depict all of it without becoming too gigantic. As you pointed out in your question, there is a way to do it, which was you saw in Trails into Rapid. It was this idea that you could have three stories going to the same time, and they're occasionally crossing, but still going forward to the finish line, without taking too much time. This was being used as a reference for coming up with this game. It is allowing us to tell the story we wanted while hitting all the story bits we needed to hit. The thing about this game in particular that is pushing us towards the climax and the end of the cover arc itself, and as there is many things to tell, we needed a way to do that, which was a way with three protagonists. When it comes to why these protagonists were chosen, if you look all the way back to Sky, there is a lot of flags that Kevin was going to be covered, and when it comes to Rin from the story perspective, without spoiling anything, a lot of what Rin went through in the course of Cold Steel games and Rapid places him close to the center of what's happening in the continent of Simuria itself. And if you look at the scenes that happens, for example, at the end of the Cold Steel games, and Trails into Rapid, you'll notice that his future and the character itself seems to be connected to what's going to happen in the continent. Also, more on the planning side, the idea of what a lot of fans has been asking for years. Oh my god, they actually acknowledge that we have been waiting for Kevin to come back for so long. Also, on the more planning side, is that a lot of fans has been asking us for years, where is Kevin? How come Kevin never comes up? And when it comes to Rin, he's a very popular character and the staff internally have some affection for him. And when an opportunity to bring Rin and show how he's grown for the past over the years. The thing about this game is particularly pushing towards the climax. Okay, he repeats the same thing. After 10 titles with connected storylines, the Trail series have amassed a huge cast, and I'm sure many fans would like to see it again and actively explore their perspective. As such, are you interested in having more games in the series to explore multiple protagonist angle, and what's your personal thoughts on the system? Personally, I prefer stories that focus on one main character, for example, Is. On the other hand, I understand it may be necessary to tell stories in different ways. On circumstances that cover needed multiple main characters for this entry, and you may see in this next entry as well, who is to say. The thing is, it's really dependent on the game and the story it's telling. When you look at Trails in the Sky, for example, you have a young man and a young woman in the world that's very new to them. Everything they're experiencing and encountering are things they're seeing for the very first time. So there is a sense of wondering what they feel. So it makes sense that the story will be told from the perspective of essentially one main character who's seeing things through her eyes and experience then as she would. This was the best manner of storytelling for that game. On the flip side, the story on Trails has reached a level where we talk about a nation, with the size of the tale that needs to be told. It makes sense there will be 3 main characters in 3 stories. Personal preferences aside, I'm perfectly fine approaching the game with whatever angle the story needs. There's another question. For many years, fans of the West felt like they've been behind with Japan with a huge gap that seems hard to deal with. And now we are one step behind with Horizon. How does it feel to have a series so close to being originally available without a gap? I'm very sorry we had to make you wait, guys, for so long. Sometimes we even make the Japanese fans wait up to 3 years between releases, but it was obviously a lot different from the Western base. 20 years ago, the market was very different. It was not so easy for jrpgs to sell in the West, and there wasn't a lot of feedback about the games were coming out. It was difficult to really gauge what level of fan base there was in the West, what kind of expectations there were, and where to hold any kind of dialogue. The market for JRPGs was just way too different. However, 10 years ago, things have really begun to change. As the game grows in terms of fanbase, that means more opportunity for feedback and to understand what the fanbase is thinking. We are now in a position we can see more than we could before, and we can see and understand what the fans think about the game in the West more. In terms of timeline, obviously the best would be have these games. Oh my god. In terms of timeline, obviously the best would be the games coming out in the West, saying one with Japan as well. But the thing is, because there is a story focus and it takes too long time to make, there is a lot of things to localize. But beyond that, the writing staff is very dedicated to make sure the stories they tell are the best they can be. Even though we may have seen the game for the final approval, the writers are still there making small manual changes and polishing the text. That kind of necessitates a timeline, but by the same token, we do want to continue to decrease that timeline. And this representative says, and we as well. And to make sure for the games come out in the very least quickly as reasonable in the localization, with the release in Japan and to release in the West. Thank you for sharing much your time and for the opportunity. Is there anything else you'd like to share with your readers of Trails of Beyond the Horizon and Falcon's future plans? To talk about Trails of Horizon specifically, this is obviously the later half of the cover arc. It can spend a lot of trials that started at the beginning part of the cover to be tied up here, or at least begin to be tied up. It can spend a lot of shocking things with the story, but beyond that, there's also a movie in the series of overall exclusion. As you play the game, you'll see the things are not only directed related to cover, but also the story of the content of the mirror itself. You're going to see a lot of things that are going to be revealed for the very first time. A lot of secrets that this world holds are starting to be revealed in this game. I hope players look forward to that and enjoy what they play because it's been a long time coming. In terms of future plans for this series, obviously there will be more games that come out not only in the Trail series but also in East. But beyond that, we have other ideas for some new series. One of them is something I'd like to show the fans in the West very soon, so it's probably going to be on the shareholders. Okay, so they're probably going to tease the new IP in the shareholder. Holy shit. Okay, so they're probably going to show Kai 2, Tokyo Xanadu, Kyoto Xanadu, or like Tokyo Xanadu 2, and this big IP, they're probably going to tease like a small like art of it. I'm very excited, and one of them, Hopefully we can bring you more information about that along with our partners and Nisa America. More than anything, we hope you continue to play and support our titles. So they're kind of teasing that Nisa will pick up that new IP as well, so that's interesting. That interview is probably one of my favorites here because it explains more and goes more in depth on what made Trails, the potential of Trails being so big up to like 20 years up to now, and telling that Horizon would be not the same thing if it was back then. It would probably collapsed. This was very interesting. I did not expect it to release a trailer and to be on the January 15. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video.